From the streets of Los Angeles to the grand stage of the Academy Awards, Leonardo DiCaprio's journey is the story of ambition, obsession, and transformation. As a child, he grew up surrounded by poverty and chaos, yet he dreamed of a life far beyond his neighborhood. By his teenage years, he was chasing roles on television, hungry for recognition. And soon, the world would see a boy with striking blue eyes turn into one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors. But his path was never smooth. Behind the glamour came relentless scrutiny, heartbreak, and the constant shadow of failure. How did a boy once dismissed as just another pretty face rise to become an Oscar-winning legend, and ultimately an activist fighting for the future of our planet? Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio was born on November 11, 1974, in Los Angeles, California. His father, George DiCaprio, was an underground comic book writer and distributor. His mother, Irmelin, was a legal secretary who had emigrated from Germany. Their marriage was short-lived, and by the time Leonardo was only a year old, his parents had separated. He grew up primarily with his mother, who struggled to provide for her only son. The neighborhood was far from glamorous, an area rife with crime, drugs, and violence. Young Leonardo witnessed scenes of addiction and desperation outside his apartment window. He later admitted that these early experiences gave him a deep sense of empathy and a powerful motivation to escape. His mother worked multiple jobs, walking him to auditions in between shifts, instilling in him both resilience and discipline. Despite financial hardship, Irmelin encouraged Leonardo's curiosity. He was a bright child with a vivid imagination, fascinated by stories and the world of performance. At school, he struggled academically, restless and eager to express himself. Acting became his outlet, a way to channel the chaos around him into something meaningful. Those formative years, marked by instability, but also by a mother's unwavering belief, shaped DiCaprio's hunger for success. He wasn't just chasing fame. He was chasing a way out, a chance to rewrite the destiny that his environment had seemingly written for him. Leonardo's first steps into acting were anything but glamorous. As a young boy, he landed small parts in commercials, often competing against hundreds of other child actors in Los Angeles. His charisma and energy stood out, but success did not come overnight. He faced rejection after rejection, with casting agents telling him he was too intense, too unconventional, or simply not marketable enough. His persistence, however, began to pay off in the early 1990s. Leonardo earned recurring roles on television, most notably in the sitcom Growing Pains. Even in these light-hearted roles, audiences noticed a spark, an authenticity that set him apart from his peers. He wasn't just reciting lines, he was living them. Then came the breakthrough that would change everything. In 1993, he starred opposite Johnny Depp in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. At just 19 years old, Leonardo played Arnie Grape, a boy with developmental disabilities. The performance was raw, heartbreaking, and astonishingly real. Critics praised his depth and maturity, and the Academy rewarded him with his first Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. That nomination marked Leonardo DiCaprio not as another teen actor, but as a true talent, capable of disappearing into complex characters. Suddenly, Hollywood and the world took notice. He had gone from commercials and sitcoms to standing shoulder to shoulder with the industry's finest, proving that he was destined for greatness. After his Oscar-nominated breakthrough, Leonardo DiCaprio's rise was unstoppable. Hollywood quickly recognized his ability to blend charisma with emotional depth, making him a rare actor who appealed to both teenage audiences and serious critics. In 1996, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet reimagined Shakespeare's tragedy for a modern generation. As Romeo, Leonardo became the face of young love, his chemistry with Claire Danes igniting screens worldwide. Teenage fans plastered his image on bedroom walls, and DiCaprio mania was beginning to swell. But it was 1997's Titanic that turned him into a global phenomenon. As Jack Dawson, the penniless artist who wins the heart of Rose, Leonardo embodied charm, rebellion, and romance. The film shattered box office records, grossing over $2 billion and cemented DiCaprio as the heartthrob of a generation. Crowds screamed his name at premieres, tabloids followed his every move, and the phrase Leo-mania entered pop culture history. Yet DiCaprio refused to be typecast. Instead of capitalizing on his heartthrob image, he sought out complex roles with directors who demanded more of him. His collaborations with Martin Scorsese became legendary. Gangs of New York, 2002, The Aviator, 2004, The Departed, 2006, and Shutter Island, 2010, showcased a fearless actor willing to push boundaries. Each role added new layers to his reputation, from tortured historical figures to morally conflicted anti-heroes. By the time he delivered his electric performance as Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013, audiences had long stopped doubting his seriousness. The film was wild, controversial, and unforgettable. Yet another demonstration of DiCaprio's ability to dominate the screen. Then in 2015 came The Revenant. Filming in brutal conditions, Leonardo endured freezing rivers, raw bison liver, and relentless physical challenges. The result was one of the most visceral performances of his career. After years of nominations, the Academy finally awarded him the Oscar for Best Actor. The boy once dismissed as a pretty face was now recognized as one of the greatest actors of his generation. For all his brilliance on screen, Leonardo DiCaprio could never escape the glare of public scrutiny. The same media that celebrated him as Hollywood's golden boy also relished in painting him as its notorious playboy. His personal life, particularly his relationships with supermodels, became tabloid headlines as persistent as his film reviews. From Gisele Bündchen to Bar Refaeli, and later a long string of romances with models decades younger, the narrative of DiCaprio's love life often overshadowed his work. The press coined terms like the Leos, Model Club, mocking his reputation for only dating women under 25. This turned him into an internet meme, a caricature of himself, as though his personal choices mattered more than his artistry. DiCaprio rarely addressed the chatter, choosing silence over scandal, but the jokes lingered. Then came the endless Oscar snubs. Despite delivering powerhouse performances in films like The Aviator, Blood Diamond, and The Wolf of Wall Street, he repeatedly left the Academy Awards empty-handed. Year after year, social media transformed his Oscar curse into viral memes. Some critics claimed he was cursed by his own beauty, forever underestimated as just another celebrity idol rather than a serious actor. Meanwhile, his off-screen lifestyle fueled controversy. Reports of all-night parties, extravagant yachts, and high-profile friendships with controversial billionaires drew criticism. Environmental activists accused him of hypocrisy. How could a man who campaigned for climate change awareness live such an indulgent life? Even the United Nations speech he delivered on global warming was met with questions about his carbon footprint. Yet, beneath the scandals and ridicule, there was resilience. While some actors crumbled under the weight of fame and excess, Leonardo DiCaprio turned every challenge into motivation. The constant Oscar jokes? He pushed harder. The Playboy label? He buried it beneath unforgettable performances. The criticisms of hypocrisy? They only sharpened his determination to prove that his activism was more than just a celebrity hobby. For Leonardo, the storms of scandal were not the end of his story. They were the shadows that made his eventual triumphs shine brighter. As Leonardo DiCaprio moved into his late 30s and 40s, something remarkable happened. The world stopped talking about his youth and started recognizing his maturity. He carefully selected roles that reflected this evolution, portraying men haunted by guilt, driven by ambition, or consumed by obsession. Films like Inception, 2010, and The Great Gatsby, 2013, showcased a new dimension of his artistry, an actor who was no longer chasing fame, but mastery. At the same time, DiCaprio reinvented himself off-screen. No longer just Hollywood's heartthrob, he became one of the most visible celebrity activists in the fight against climate change. Through the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, established in 1998, he funded conservation projects, supported renewable energy initiatives, and donated millions to environmental causes. His 2014 speech at the United Nations Climate Summit positioned him as more than a movie star. It made him a global voice for the planet. Even critics who once mocked his lifestyle began to acknowledge his dedication. He used his fame as a megaphone, transforming red carpet appearances and award acceptance speeches into platforms for urgent environmental messages. In doing so, DiCaprio reshaped his image. Not a playboy clinging to youth, but a man channeling his influence into lasting impact. This reinvention wasn't about abandoning Hollywood. It was about expanding his legacy beyond it, proving that Leonardo DiCaprio was more than an actor. He was an artist, an activist, and a figure determined to leave behind something greater than box office records. Leonardo DiCaprio's story is more than the tale of a boy who became a star. It is the evolution of an artist who defied expectation. From the heartthrob of Titanic to the Oscar-winning survivalist of The Revenant, his career reflects a relentless pursuit of authenticity. Each role is a testament to his refusal to be confined by Hollywood's labels. But his legacy does not end with cinema. As one of the most influential voices in environmental activism, DiCaprio has inspired millions to confront the urgent reality of climate change. He has shown that fame can be more than a spotlight. It can be a force for change. Today, Leonardo DiCaprio stands as a symbol of resilience, artistry, and responsibility. His journey reminds us that true greatness lies not in the trophies we win, but in the impact we leave behind. Leonardo DiCaprio's journey is proof that even in the most unforgiving spotlight, it is possible to rise, to endure, and to inspire. So if his story moved you, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more untold stories of Hollywood's most fascinating stars.